Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Self-Reacquaintance. So excited to be back here doing our ninth episode. Nine. Like we are one episode away to 10. Ninth episode. Time flies when you are having fun. Making friendships is hard, and I am terrible at it. Also, I think I don't even make effort. To be honest, I don't make effort to make friends because for me, it's just a lot, and it gives me anxiety. It gives me stress and headache. People are complex, and I think I don't have the energy to put myself in complicated situations like that. So earlier this year, I decided I was going to put myself out there and start making friendships. And I have a criteria and all. I was ready. Hey, but it got overwhelming. I got overwhelmed and went back to my bubble. And my greatest gift, though, are my sisters, who are the bestest of friends, my safe space, my confidence, and my tribe, Ibu Tolami, my all. I think maybe that is also why, or maybe this also contributes to me not being able to open up to new people, to strangers, because I know these two have my back. They are there in my highs, they are there in my lows. I am able to be there for them just as much, also without feeling inadequate. They know my weaknesses and they accept me as I am. I don't have to try to act to become something that I'm not in order for them to love me. They love me regardless. And I think I am so blessed to have them in my life and for them to have created such a solid, safe space for me. And we created for each other that kind of a space for each other. And I love that about us. So with new friendships, you still have to learn new people. You learn the new person. They have to also learn about you, which requires time. It requires effort that I don't know. I don't know if we still have, I don't know. As you grow old and you have all these responsibilities, I don't know if you still have the time and energy to try with people that you don't know, especially because you know how disappointing these things get, sometimes, and they just don't go your way, and how people just disappoint each other, how people just betray each other, even how people sometimes don't even have pure intentions, man. And I decide to stay away. I don't know if it's good or bad, but that's where I am, even mentally. So today we are talking about the friendships or the friendship formula, my formula. So the formula has to do with proximity, the frequency, the duration, and intensity. But you will have to go read more about that. I'm not going to be scientific about it. I'm just going to name today's topic, the friendship formula, because I'm explaining my understanding of what it is, Friendships can be complicated, like I said, right? They can be very complicated. And there's this whole world of expectations, not knowing whether you are doing enough or too much, whether they are showing up for you in a way you show up for them, not knowing how much you should go in sharing your true self with them, whether you should open your home and your heart like that, and invite them in and allow them to meet your family and loved ones. It's just a whole lot of things to think about when you think about starting something new like that. I guess it is like that with almost all relationships, but yeah, we are not there. We're talking about friendships. Today, I'll be sharing my own journey with friendship and friendships, how I have come to find peace in the connections that I already have, and a little bit about why I used to struggle with it so much. And as it turns out, I'm not the only one who has these struggles, you know. A while back, I listened to Trevor Noah talking about his own struggles with friendships. Trevor mentioned that he often holds back from making friends because he's worried about expecting something from them only to end up being disappointed, and vice versa, where he'll be in a position of disappointing the friend, you know, and he doesn't want that. I think, okay, with Trevor, I think he has mastered the art of clearly articulating his feelings and thoughts. He spoke even for me. He explained it so well. Some of the issues I have are those ones. And I guess it is that age-old struggle. Do we risk getting close and start expecting, or keep things at arm's length to protect ourselves? And honestly, I can relate to this deeply. I relate to it. And I think he was the one who was able to explain what I was thinking, what I was feeling, you know, my thoughts around the issue of friendships. Now, here's a bit about me. I am an ambivert. If you are not familiar with the term, just a quick one. An ambivert is simply a person who feels comfortable in social settings as well as comfortable when they are alone. But it depends on the situation, I guess. So for me, this shows up in ways I never fully understood until recently. For example, if I am at a gathering or with a group of people and the conversation dies down, I often feel this need or this pressure to fill the silence. I start thinking, should I jump in with something and just to say something, you know, even if it's random, just to keep things alive, to keep things lively? Is it awkward if it gets too quiet? And then the other side of me kicks in. The side that suddenly is self-conscious, wondering if I am saying too much. Do you ever feel like that? Like you go into a situation with people knowing that today you don't have the energy to say a lot, and you are not going to say a lot. You have a plan, you're going to be quiet. And then you decide to keep to yourself, and then you find yourself in that awkward, quiet situation. And then you start talking. After you decided that you were not going to talk, you start talking because it's too awkward for you. The silence is uncomfortable with these people around, you know. So you start talking, and then you go back home and start having all these thoughts about that maybe you spoke a lot, maybe you shouldn't have said that, and maybe you should have just kept quiet when that one person said that thing or asked that question, you know. You see, that constant struggle of always trying to find the middle ground is a struggle. Even at work, there was a time when I wanted to be invited to go out with colleagues. It's really a strange feeling. Not necessarily wanting to go, but wanting to feel included. And most times, even if they did invite me, I would find a reason to say no. Thank you for the invite, but I can't. Or I am not available. Sometimes I would agree if they asked way in advance, but find that I really cannot join them on that day. Whether it was just feeling drained from the day or preferring some quiet time on that day, I would just find a way to get out of it. But when I consider you to be Ibutolami, like my tribe, definitely I'll be there. I will come and show up even when I am dog tired. I will show up for you. Going back to the issue of colleagues, looking back now, I think it was more about wanting to be acknowledged. It's interesting. It's very interesting now that I think about it. The need to be seen as part of the group, but not really wanting to engage in group activities. Almost 13 years later in that same organization that I am at, I think I've only gone to one NDA function, only once. I don't go, whether it's sports, whatever, even my, union activities, year-end functions, I just don't go. I don't go. I am trying now to be serious about sports and at least maybe attend sports activities that are outside of our workplace. So we will see how far that goes. I want to do it. I really do want to do it. So I only went out once for an NDA function in 2022, December. Because a late friend literally dragged me there. He dragged me there. He said, "You're coming with me, with us." And I had excuses that I don't even know these people like that. Whereas they are not even in my branch. So I don't even know how to motivate myself to go with them because they are not people I hang around, He said, "I am inviting you. You don't need to know them. We are going." So eventually, I went. When he left the office. He said, "Let's go." I said, no, just go. Send me the location when you get there because I still need to finish up some things here and then I'll join you. And then he did. When he got there, sent me the location and then I eventually followed. I went there and it wasn't a bad experience. It wasn't bad, but I don't think I will do it again. Also, I am really glad I did go because that would unfortunately be our last outing together before he passed on at the beginning of 2023. So I look back and I am truly glad that I got to do that with him and went out and he tried to open that door for me, with the other colleagues. Whether the door is open or not, I'm not sure, but he did try and I appreciate that about him. And then he passed on and he left us in 2023. It was sad, but yeah, that's a topic for another day. I used to worry a lot about this, especially about the friendships. We're going back to the topic of friendships, especially in primary and early high school years. I would often feel like I was doing too much or asking too much, that maybe my efforts to stay connected or to show I cared were overwhelming to the next person. Like if I phoned too much or wanted to hang out too much, I would somehow be seen as over a lot, You know how when you see a person as a lot. So when a childhood friend who had left the school, I think about a year or two earlier, lost her parents. We were still in touch. So she lost her parents. The news got to us. I didn't know how to be there for her. My heart wanted to be there for her. But I didn't know how many times to call her. And then it was still landlines. So I would call her, but I wouldn't know how much was enough. And I didn't want to overwhelm her, but I didn't know how far to go and how much space to give her. It was a constant struggle. And then we somehow eventually went on with our lives, and the distance with time grew until we stopped talking completely. I don't know when and how. I can't recall. And then when I saw her many years later at church, I think at that time we were done with our first undergrads. I think we were done. We were so happy to see each other. We hugged and we spoke. But that thing, that thing was no longer there, man. Like, we didn't click the way we used to click in our primary school years. We by that time, we had cell phones, but we did not even exchange numbers because I think we both felt it, that that thing was no longer there, but we were cordial and very nice with each other, because I think she had at some point started staying with her aunt because she lost her parents. And then their aunt was a member at our church. So I don't know where she was for many other years. And then I think she then later came back to stay with the aunt. That's how then I got to see her at church when I would go home to visit, because it was back at home. So we were still very nice with each other, but we could not form that friendship again. We were just a casual sisters in the Lord. I went to the same church. We had our history, and we were just nice, man. We were fine. But I think we had both moved on. Also, I think we then followed each other on Facebook. We would like each other's posts, but even with that, I stopped being active on Facebook many years ago. I would post one thing and then disappear for like a year or so, then come back again for a day, and then I'll be off for like many more months again, until about 2 years ago. I think someone tried to hack my account, and then I blocked it so that they couldn't use it. But that meant I also couldn't use it. I also couldn't log in, and because now they want me to verify or prove that indeed it is my account, and what they are asking for is what I'm not going to provide. So I was like, let's rather not access it, both of us, whoever the hacker was, as well as myself. It's not like I'm losing much. I was not big on Facebook in any case, so it can just stay there. So it's not working. I haven't been using it. I think we are on 2 years now. So it's funny how we get caught up in this worrying about being too present or being too distant. And those are the issues that I think about when I have to go into a new friendship. Like, it's stressful. But at some point in my journey also, my view of friendships took a real turn, realizing that the friendships I needed were right in front of me in the form of my family, my sisters. Guys, can I tell you, my sisters have become my closest friends. And honestly, I couldn't be more content with that. I know that with them, there's no second guessing or fear of being too much. I can be myself fully, and they understand me in a way few others do. And that gives me so much peace. They don't just talk. Their actions speak. So they are the type of people who are they. I think that's how I am also. I may not call them a lot on the phone and, but I will show up for my sisters. I think my strongest point is that showing up for the people that you say you love. And I think that's what my sisters do so well also. They will show up and stand in gaps for me. That's what we do for each other. And it has given me so much peace, However, it has taken me time to come to this realization, to be comfortable with the fact that maybe I don't need a huge circle of friends. I have been friends to so many people, but I have had very few friends, Mina. You know what I mean? Where many people consider you to be their friend because of who you are and how you show up for them. But for you, you are not necessarily getting the same things you are looking for in a friendship from them, resulting in you putting them in different compartments and not in the friendship compartment. So I'm their friend, but they are not necessarily my friend. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I've been in those type of situations. So growing up, I would look at people around me, especially my mom and sisters, who have this natural ease with friendships, My dad doesn't talk a lot, but even he had and has more friends than me. For them, it's easy. They make and maintain connections so effortlessly. And I always wondered why I struggled with that. Why was I not comfortable with that? But today I can say that I am very okay with it. I am content with the very few friendships that I have, and that my siblings are my closest friendship circle. I have another childhood friend, then another two that are solid, that I made during tertiary years. But again, like I said, I struggle with maintenance, especially if you are out of sight, out of sight. But I am glad that they knew and know to this day that I treasure them. They are precious to me. So we would go a long time not talking, but when we decide to talk on that day, it would be as if we never stop talking. The conversations will go on for hours, just updating each other about life and how we then can show up for each other in various areas, And I love that. There is no pressure to always be in touch, like always, like every day. I mean, we are busy, And now, as a working woman, mother, wife, and all those big responsibilities, I've made few friends that I know I can trust and I appreciate them dearly. People who are just with you when you are happy, who are with you when you are sad, people who speak life into your situations, people who understand the importance of prayer. So when I started, I mentioned that I have a criteria in friendship. And one of my top non-negotiables is the belief system. I don't think it can always work if you have different views about who God is and what Christianity is as a way of life. I don't think it can work long term, but I don't know. For me, I don't think it is something that can work. So it is for this reason that I will not just call anyone friend. It takes a very long time. I must really be comfortable and really feel like I know you to that point to call you a friend, because when I say it, I truly mean it. So I have many acquaintances, but very few friends. And maybe you felt this too. Maybe you're someone who has a lot of acquaintances, but only a few close friends. Or maybe like me, you are an ambivert who enjoys social time, but also feels drained by it. Or perhaps you are someone who feels fulfilled with family as your closest friends. If so, I would love to know what this journey looks like for you. Have these conversations with loved ones and explore what kind of a friend you are and the types of friendships that you gravitate to. How do you appreciate friendship overall? And how do you balance your own need for connection with the reality of the friendships you have? Maybe those are things to think about, have conversations about. One colleague recently was telling me that she shares this in her many groups that she's in, her society groups, her girls, her mommy's groups, and whatever. And I was like, really? She says, yes, these are conversations that we talk about. We listen to you, I share with them, and then we talk about these topics that you bring up. And I really appreciate that. Also the feedback, I really truly appreciate that. Now, back to friendships. Growth has taught me that friendships don't have to look a certain way to be meaningful, and that for some of us, our best friends are those we have known our entire lives. We talk about everything with my sisters. Guys, yesterday we laughed so hard. My tummy hurt. It was about a situation and slay queens. I hope they get this one because I can't say more than this. But we spoke about slay queens, gold diggers, and this particular person who is really not a slay queen, but we just said it in that situation. So I think the most important thing here is finding a connection that feels true to who we are. Trevor Noah's thoughts also helped me a lot to recognize that it's okay to be protective of my heart, and I don't need to force myself into friendships if I am already fulfilled. If they do happen, I am open by all means, and that would actually be great. But that doesn't mean I am not fulfilled currently. I am old enough to know that friendships can come in so many forms, and sometimes the one that mean the most, the ones that mean the most are those we least expect. Yeah. We are at the end. So thank you for joining me on this journey today. I hope you resonate with how I explain friendships and you understand that my views are not the Bible. They are true to me and maybe different for you. The podcast is not about imposing ideas and methods. It is about creating communities that can engage and share different perspectives as we learn and grow together. For some, friendships may comprise large groups of people, while for others, it's one or two close connections. Whatever your journey looks like, remember, it's okay to define friendship in your own way. Are we together? Are we together? We had a geography teacher, I think in grade 9, like a geography teacher in high school, who would ask, are we together? I think I may have dropped geography as a subject because of that woman. But anyway, we are not there. Until next time, this is Self-Reacquaintance, reminding you to keep finding peace within yourself and those around you. Stay blessed, stay connected to God and to self. Be kind, rest enough, and stay beautiful. God bless and goodbye.